Thursday. Okay, here we go. Going to finish up section 8.1. So where we left off, right here, we had said that we had defined these two terms, that two angles are complementary if they add up to 90. They're supplementary if they add up to 180. And then we had set up these two problems right here and said, okay, if these two angles that I'm pointing to, if they are complements, meaning they add up to 90, what's the missing one? So we said the missing one plus 34 is 90. And I had mentioned we're setting it up like that intentionally, even though I know that you could probably solve that with just your calculator. I wanted to make sure for the exercise we're going to lead off with today. So then this next problem, these two were supplementary. And so that means the missing angle plus 115 added up to 180, and we subtracted. So that finds us right here. For exercise 4, we're once again looking at this figure here, but instead of me telling you one of the angles is 115 degrees, I'm telling you the following about the two angles. So I'm going to give you about a minute and a half to see what headway you can make on this problem. And if you can't make any headway, it's okay. That's why we're in class together. But here's what I'm telling you about these two angles right here. I'm telling you that ABC, the bigger angle, is X. And then DBA is X minus 30. And I've also told you they're supplementary. So that means these two angles that I've just defined are going to add up to 180. So see if you can set up and figure out what the value of X is going to be. And again, if you struggle with that, it's okay. That's why we're going to do this one together. So in the previous exercise, I had told you that angle ABC was 115 and that the two angles were supplementary. So we said, okay, the first angle, which I don't know, plus the 115 is equal to 180. And we solved that. Now in this problem, I'm going to use red and I'm going to label my little diagram. Now in this one, I tell you ABC is equal to X. So I'm going to put an X right here. And then DBA is X minus 30. And I want to know what the value of X is. So these two values, this X and this X minus 30, when I add them up, so X plus the X minus 30, when I add those two things up, I'm going to get 180 degrees. Okay, so that's the setup. So if you struggle a little bit, that's okay. You're going to get some opportunity on your homework problems to do problems that are exactly like this. And so then this is the kind of the maximum amount of algebra that I expect you to be able to perform in this class. So in here, when I have X plus X, what do you get when you add X plus X? Yep, you get two of them. So I have 2X. So then I have the equation 2X minus 30 is equal to 180. I'm just going to rewrite it right here so I have room to write my next step. What do I do to both sides of this firstly in order to solve it for the value of X? We're going to do the 30. What am I going to do with the 30? You're going to add the 30. Beautiful. Well said. And so when I do that, I just have 2X remaining on the left side. The negative 30 plus the 30, they cancel. 180 plus 30 is 210. And then there's one more step, and then we'll be able to figure out what X is. And what's the last thing I've got to do here? Yep, I'm going to divide by that 2. That's for sure. And so then I have X, and your calculator will tell you that 210 divided by 2 is 105 degrees. So that's the value of X that we figure out from those constraints that are given. So the key thing to remember there is when two angles are complementary, they add up to 90 degrees, and when they're supplementary, they add up to 180. Okay, last little bit here about our angles and our two-dimensional figures in the plane. So we're going to finish off here talking briefly about parallel lines. Very beginning of this section a couple days ago told you that parallel lines are lines in the same plane that don't touch. So these two blue lines that I'm pointing to, they would be considered parallel lines that we're told they're parallel lines. And so then this pink line that cuts through my parallel lines, math people like to give everything fancy names. So this is called a transversal. And what it does is it slices up our parallel lines and creates all sorts of angle relationships that we can talk about. So the first pair of angle relationships are not particular to parallel lines. Angle 1 and angle 4. So this angle that's labeled 1, this angle that's labeled 4, they are directly across from each other. They are called vertical angles. And they are equal angles. So angle 1 and angle 4 are equal. So looking at the diagram, what's another pair of angles that would be vertical angles? Yeah, 5 and 8 down here. So angle 5 and angle 8. Yep. They are equal. They are vertical angles. In fact, there's two other pairs, just to be thorough. What's another pair? Yep, 2 and 3. Angle 2 and angle 3 are vertical angles. And then last but not least would be perfect. Well said. Love it. Angle 6 and angle 7. Fantastic. So vertical angles, they share a vertex. They're right across from each other, and they are equal. So then angle 1 and angle 5. So here is angle 1. I'm just going to do a little arc in blue. Here's angle 5. They are in what's called the corresponding positions. Notice both of these are top left angles with respect to their parallel line. So these are called corresponding angles. I need to make that blank a little bigger next time around. Doesn't help you today, but corresponding angles are equal. They're in the same position on the parallel lines. What's another pair of corresponding angles? Yeah, 3 and 7, these are in the bottom left-hand corner. So angle 3 and angle 7 are also corresponding angles. What's another pair? Yeah, 4 and 8 would be another pair. And then finally, the last one I think you would tell me is angle 2 and angle 6. They are all corresponding angles. So because the original lines are parallel, those are all equal. Angle 1 and 8. So I'm going to use pink. I'm changing colors here just to kind of, so this one and this one, angle 1 and 8. So notice this. They swap sides of that pink line, the transversal. They're on opposite sides. And they're also on the outside of the parallel lines. So because of that, and this blank is definitely too short, they are called alternating. They're alternating because they swap sides of the transversal, and then they're exterior because they're on the outside of the parallel lines. So what they're called is the description of just their location. They're alternating because they alternate sides of the transversal, and they're exterior because they're on the outside of the parallel lines. So there's one other pair of alternating exterior angles, and what would you suppose those are? Yeah, 2 and 7. Good eye. Angle 2 and angle 7 are also alternating exterior angles. Okay, one more pair of angles that are interesting to us, and then we've got one final quick exercise that is one of my favorite test questions, so I can promise you to be on the test. Angle 3 and 6, I'm going to use green for angle 3 and 6. They are called alternating. Perfect. Yes, read my mind. Alternating interior angles. Again, they're called alternating because they swap sides of the transversal, and then they're on the inside of the parallel lines. That's why they're interior. And what's the other pair of alternating interior angles? Well said. Okay, so this is the last problem. I like to put a problem like this on the test just to see if you remember these angle relationships so you can be ready for a problem like this. In exercise 5, down at the very bottom of the page, I tell you this. I tell you that measure of angle 3 is 25 degrees. So I'm just going to put a 25 right here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fill in the measures of the other angles, knowing what we know from this section about different angles and their relationships. So who can tell me the measure of another angle on that picture and why? Why is 725 degrees? You're totally right. Yep, that is exactly what it is. It corresponds to angle 3. Perfect. Who can tell me another angle on this picture? 2 is 25. Why is that one 25? It's the alternating exterior of 7, yes. Or you could have said there's multiple reasons for that, or you could have said it's a vertical angle with 3. Okay, so either one of those, it doesn't matter. Neither one is better than the other. Sure? Perfect. How did you get 155 for number 1? Yeah, this is a straight line, 180 degrees. So those two things have to add up to 180. Perfect. And so that allows us to find all the rest. So angle 4 would be 155. Why would that one be 155? Not perfect. Yes, it's vertical. Or you also could have said it adds up to 180 degrees. So there's multiple justifications for these. Angle 6 here is 25. And we could say that because it's vertical with 7, or it's corresponding with 3, or it's alternating interior with alternating interior with 3, or it corresponds to 2. There's lots of different reasons. And then 5 and 8 are both going to be 155 for those same sorts of reasons. So we just filled in the chart with the different values. And that I just like that because it's a good review of the different angle relationships.